Hello, welcome back to the channel. Um, so I noticed I have a couple of comments about my difficulty understanding me. And I mean that as in like, I'm not talking clearly enough. And I mean that, but you know what I mean by that. Okay, so um, I ordered a new microphone. I feel like I said this in some other video. Well, I ordered a new microphone to plug into this thing because the microphone built into this thing maybe isn't the best. So, but it's not just that. I know I don't always talk clearly enough. I don't always enunciate super clearly. I have like some kind of like jaw issue or something on this side where like I can't like I can open my mouth. I don't know if you can see that. Like my mouth. It doesn't matter. This is disgusting stuff to be showing you, but you know maybe it's just part of the. It's only disgusting, as I mentioned, because in other videos we live in a sort of biological hell created by words, and really there's nothing organic and fleshy and disgusting about this. If we could just drop those labels, but yeah. Anyway, like I'm going to be uploading these videos for the most part, no matter how kind of ridiculous they and kind of unprofessional they seem, because like I said, this is kind of like an art project. And the whole thing, it needs to have ups and downs. In a way, is to think about it, like a good movie or good music or something has like a high point and a low point and stuff like that. So there needs to be some low points to this channel, and you know, so me mumbling and not being understood, me showing some disgusting thing about my jaw and all this stuff, and it's just kind of like there's a it's like maybe like the dip, although maybe it's I don't know. But I'm going to keep making these videos and uploading them. I'm going to try to make a video every day. I'm going to try to get to the point that I'm uploading a video every day, even though I've read I've read you get burned out doing that, and it kind of makes you want to do it anyway. I'm kind to a certain degree in life, I've maybe kind of been like that, if I get kind of, maybe I don't know if it's spiteful is the right term, but like if it's like, don't do that. Well, you know, I'm sure you're like that too, right? If somebody says don't do that, you kind of want to do it, right? Of course, I'm not taking this. I don't mean like really serious stuff, but stuff we say is really serious anyway. I'm not sure anything is actually serious. Let me know, life is art, and is art serious? Is fiction serious? Fiction is only serious because because we think real life is not fiction, and so we relate it to real life. But I do ideally, if the channel ever somehow got monetized, I don't want to like destroy that possibility. So I mean that depending on what I say, like that, I mean that could always be something that would cause me to. I might not upload something for depending on what. I mean, this is very unscripted. You know, I don't know what comes out exactly, but you have to say something ridiculous to get your channel like totally demonetized. I wouldn't really care about a single video. Like you have to steal something or something, right? I remember YouTube, it used to just basically seem like the comments were just uncensored. Like you could just say anything. You could just say like racial slurs and stuff in the comments. You would see this. I feel like it's still kind of like that. Not that I'm encouraging it. So, anyway, As I mentioned, I encourage people to make their own videos like this, where you just say stuff, it just flows out. You should be you sing your own song, so to speak. And this is like, in my opinion, this is what spirituality is. I mentioned in another video, the Word of God or something. You can call it that, but those are just words. We have spooky connotations with the word God, but God is just a word. And it seems like, who knows? I have my own hunch about what that word tended to mean at one point. I have no way of proving it, and I have no way of proving that that isn't even what people are talking about when they say it now, but just their behavior and their lack of chillness about life seems to imply that people don't, they say that word and they have a different definition of it. And whatever, it's just a word. Who knows, maybe that definition is wrong. Maybe I'm not talking about, maybe I'm talking about something that never was called God. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is truth is beyond words. And if truth is beyond words, then then speaking from it is just going to look like gobbledygook. Essentially, to the observer. It will look like it feels good to do it, but to an observer, it will seem contradictory. It might seem like you're very forceful at stuff you have no evidence for. It might seem like you're psychotic or something. But that could only be because what's really going on is we humans can't talk about it. Humans are a dull tool, unfortunately. And so your words are just they're never fine enough. They can't capture it, they can't get it. Maybe the energy behind the words that are spoken at a specific moment can be received by the recipient and something like that, and that gets something across. But I don't know. And I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say this is the word of God or something. I don't know. And God is just a word. You get it. God is just a word. And when people talk about God, so it's like there are all these things that are off limits and bad, when I'm trying to say is I don't want to demonize any aspect of what is. What is should be totally accepted, the totality of it. Otherwise, it seems like an insult to God otherwise, doesn't it? If you say there's God and then there's these demons and these demons are separate from God and they're around, and God can't really do anything about them, and they're bad, and what is that definition of God? That seems like some sort of boxed in non-omnipotent, non-total definition of it. I don't know what that is. The idea, God is you have to be, there's a spiritual warfare and you need to be on God's side. Something that the totality doesn't have warfare. Makes no sense. You can't take anything anybody says seriously about anything, because words aren't enough. Everybody is basically just saying garbage from a word perspective. And the AI is just, it's like the AI is like on an SAT. You have the question that's like, can you follow this pattern? It's like 2, 4, 6, 8. It's probably more complicated pattern than that. But our words are just like that, basically, or at least can be, and the AI kind of is just a big version of that. And yeah. I can mention like food I eat. I don't know that it makes any kind of difference with this sort of stuff. I'd be curious what food you eat, but it probably makes no difference at all, really, what food you eat. I ate. I didn't sleep much, and I got it. But I got up at like 2 something in the morning, and I had 2 espresso shots uh, 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 2 Pop Tarts, or Trader Joe's organic Pop Tarts. But those were like those are like sugary. They're not very, well, we would say they're not very healthy, right? But and yeah, they probably not. But like sometimes, occasionally, it feels almost like energy is going so that that sugar helps to like slow it down or something, because I think that sugar is some kind of looper, like it like loops and looping thought or something like that. It just slows down a certain type of reconciliation process, but and therefore makes it a little easier to deal with or something. But I don't even know if that's true. It probably isn't true, because I don't think anything that it's just the words I said. Okay, and then later I ended up having some oatmeal because it's like something that, it feels more like real. And I got up at 2 something in the morning. I don't mean like, you start. Anybody who's done a good bit of what I'm talking about, doing the thing, which is just like a mindfulness thing where you look at the thought, you try to look at a thought and it's nowhere to be found, and it's gone, and then you realize how powerful that is, and you can just kind of vaporize thought. This is like the key. It's like, finally I'm free from the grip of rumination, and once you become an addict to that, and it becomes secondhand, like you just do it automatically. Then you start to like, you lie in a bed, you lie in a bed. This often happens. Sometimes you sleep, sometimes you don't. But you lie in a bed, and it's like you almost feel like you're resting and digesting. See, you don't need to go unconscious. Like you sometimes don't really feel like you really need to go unconscious, because like, why is that? But you still need to rest and digest. So you just lie in a bed, and it's kind of weird, but it's something I've noticed. And then sometimes you sleep, sometimes you do sleep. I don't know why. And there's no consistency to it at all, and I don't know that like. I've tended most of my life anyway. I could just have like some sleep disorder or something, because most of my life I've had horrible difficulty sleeping, or often have had a lot of difficulty sleeping. So that's I'm not. This isn't really any kind of advice or anything. You should just sleep if you need to sleep, is what I'm saying. But there's rest and then there's sleep. And I feel like there's something like you go unconscious more because it's like the sheer insanity of the average person like it's like you have to shut it down to be able to cobble together some kind of narrative to cope with your ridiculously ruminative existence. And that's why we have 8 hours of, why they say 8 hours of unconscious time is what makes sense. So I'm not sure about that. Maybe you need some, but rest is a different thing. Like rest and digest. Every time you do the thing, I think it causes you to re-enter rest and digest. I think, I think it's true. And I know with me, like sometimes I feel like it's like I do need a little caffeine, just because like I'm being very, very transparent here. Sometimes I feel like I need a little caffeine, or I could just melt. I don't know about melt, but like there's nothing. I don't think what I'm saying can help anybody, and it's kind of like a little bit of that will help me buy into the probably nonsense idea that it could, something like that, and then actually say stuff, versus just sit here on camera sitting doing nothing, and like not in a depressed way. It's just huh. You can get to the point where you just kind of hit a solid silence would maybe be the way to put it, and you just see, I don't really know, I can't say anything about anything. I can't really say anything about anything. And so you have to, like, I do something to try to I trick myself into thinking that there is something I can say about something. That's not to claim that like I'm always like that or something. I'm not claiming like I've unlocked some special anything. But I'm just saying this is something you can do. Like it is possible to get to a certain point where it's like, see, I think some people would call that like feeling the presence of God or something. And then you hit that, you do notice that you noticed it a lot more when you were a child. Of course, I don't know about you. But nowhere in there is there, it's the word God. It's like you hit this solid silence and then this text flashes up in your mind. This is God, by the way. No, there's nothing like that. Maybe this isn't God. Maybe this is above God. Or who knows? I mean, who knows? That's just a word, But it is very possible to feel like there's a thing behind everything. Everything is conscious. And there's something behind it all. And the trees, they feel like there's something behind that. It feels almost like all the plants on a sunny day, all the green plants, they almost feel like they're like celebrating something. And you drive, and there's drive down this road or whatever, and there's these plants, trees like waving in the wind, and they look like they're like cheering you on or something. Like they feel like the plants often feel like they kind of have a happiness about them. I don't know. But you do the thing and you'll notice this. It seems like the plants are celebrating something, Even inanimate objects, like man-made inanimate objects, feel kind of like you almost feel a camaraderie with them. But you can get to a weird point. Sometimes it feels like the one thing, like people are the one thing I don't feel like that about. Like I feel like a glass of water on this table is like, oh, okay, like I can feel that's the one's not confused. It's not confused about about the state of things. The people are the ones like that, and the other animals maybe to a lesser degree. And it's just, of course, I have no idea about what I'm saying, so please don't. Particularly, I hope you realize I have no idea what it's like to be some other animal. And I'm talking about like the consciousness behind a glass of water. And I hope you don't think that just because I'm saying this with some kind of a slight degree of like seeming like authority or like forcefulness, just because I'm saying it because I mean it. I don't mean like I'm like yelling, this, I don't mean like that. I hope you don't think it's like I know anything more than you do. I don't. I'm just saying this is what I say. You say something different, probably. So you should just say what you say. And maybe the thing who knows what you say? Religion and spirituality have a monopoly on religion and spirituality. I know that sounds kind of like a weird statement, but like it's true. If you look at like, you see like, I don't know if I'm saying this name right, like Richard Feynman or Richard Feynman. It's like physicist who died. He's not alive anymore, but he's like a famous physicist. And if you listen to him talk, you'll see what I mean. And we wouldn't. This is and if you say that's somebody who sees stuff, and of course this is just me saying stuff, and if you really are going to say that guy that there's nothing spiritual or religious, just use those terms about what he's saying, religion and spirituality have a monopoly on religion and spirituality because they're words. They're just words. The words of physics are just words. The words of whatever are just words. The words of business are just words. Although it's a little harder to see people getting that excited, getting really, really with it through that. I mean, who knows? I mean, I can say some random stuff that there's a chance that somebody will listen and they'll like relate to it and they'll be able to say something. Like you can feel kind of like there's a certain type of energy, like an energy going down your head, going down your back that's like slowly, and I mean really slowly, like over months and years, working its way down your spine in a sometimes you would say really painful way, but no. I don't. Pain is a label. Pain. It's not really painful if you don't label it. There's something that like kind of like that, I guess, and like it seems like it. There are all of these different words for the same kind of reconciliation process, like I mentioned in some other video. I really do think it's true. These various terms, like Jungian shadow work, that's just like that isn't considered a spiritual thing, really. I suppose it kind of is, but like it's sort of like psychology or something, right? And then like Kundalini or whatever, and then like well, there are other things. I know there's like with Dark Night of the Soul or something. Maybe I don't really know if I don't know, but like these various terms. But you get the impression there's just like it's just like a reconciliation process, is what I'd say. And It's just something that happens. Some philosophers wrote things implying a certain type of process like that. So like, my point is just like Nietzsche. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. It's not something I've never, I don't remember. I think that's how is that how you say it? There's something I haven't actually read anything about it, but I know there's some, not really, but there's something about like, at some point he changed his name to like Dionysus or something and claimed something about something along the lines of it destroys yourself or something. This is so vague and so barely accurate. See, I know like almost nothing about. I know tiny little bits of information about a decent number of things. My point is just that like religion and spirituality have a stranglehold on religion and spirituality, particularly religion, because religion is the one that's more serious. Spirituality is a little more woo-woo, therefore like it's not as like, like I think you get what I'm saying. And so religion is like a particularly toxic thing in my opinion, even though, I know that this is an opinion I'm saying. It's just an opinion I'm saying. Maybe it's not. But I think spooky connotations around words are... the word God is a false idol. How about that? And God would not really like you taking the word God very seriously, because he's not the word God. And I'm kind of, it's fine. I'm just an ignorant person. I barely know what I'm saying. That's fine. It's fine. Dive into the embarrassment. A few years ago, or I guess until I did this in a way, but I would not say stuff like this, except maybe to like a small number of people in person. Because but then at a certain point, it's like you dive into the embarrassment, because then it's like, if you dive into the embarrassment, you've been making it your mission to hold up yourself against everything and try to maintain it. But if you say my mission is to destroy myself, then nothing can really get you. The person who's already destroyed themselves is invincible. Okay, this seems like a good place to stop. If you like this, please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Bye.